I'm ready.
Really?
Nice, yeah, like, get it out now, I guess.
I'm just going to say it's the quietest I've seen you all, but like, yeah, just because someone's got to ruin it.
Professionalism at its best.
That'll be the first thing they hear on that stream.
Well, I'm just going to check everything's live.
Look at me, guys. I'm way up here.
You're the king. You're the king of the world, man.
Where is he?
Oh, I fell. Oh, I'm still in here.
Are you alright?
Well, that's just incredible.
Thanks. I mean, someone had to say it. Where am I? Oh, cool. Stuck in here.
Yeah, ready.
So quiet in here. Sorry.
This is kind of creepy.
Ready or not, here I come.
Everybody's all quiet with their hands over their
Justin's up. So what's up, everybody, and welcome to the PSVR chat show. We're going to do our introduction now to the new Transpose level. And Jason, I believe you're going to lead the way.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Okay.
Wow, this looks brilliant. Ooh.
Hey, it's Josh from Secret Location. Welcome to the Transpose room in Rec Room. Have fun.
Nice.
Hey.
Hey, there we go. Oh, it says the room is full.
Yeah.
Bum, bum, bum.
Uh-oh.
What, it says his room's full. What about if we go through the door?
That's a good point. Let's try.
And I'm melting into the floor.
It
Go
wants
through
me
the
to
door, because you
invite
said it'd be the
all
room
of
would
you.
be
Just go.
one person at a time.
Unable to join. It's private. You gotta have an invite. Blah.
Yes. Unable to join room, yep.
It's going to be that one at a time aspect, isn't it?
How did I?
Yeah, he did say that. Whoa!
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right, we hang out here for a
So
moment.
hold on, we're having a
Yeah,
bit of
cool.
a technical thing, because the guys have made a fantastic level based on Transposing Rec Room, and basically the level is for one person at a time only. I guess he assumed that we'd all have our own room at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
you can only go in there one at a time. Yeah, the room's full.
Notifications. There we go.
Where's Jimmy? Is he still here?
He made it
He
in.
is not.
He's the one.
Alright, so
guy.
hold on, right, so they might go through, so what we do is we'll keep on stay on the invite, and click it as it goes again. Because chances are he will send us another invite.
This is really cool. This looks
Pull that door,
just like
Justin, let us in!
This is actually
Hold
really
up.
accurate to the beginning of the Transpose. You have
I mean, look
Yeah,
at that,
yeah,
man. That's
systems.
epic.
You can start 3 different games, start a new game, you can delete
Minus
saves.
what's up, man.
He's very clever, very loyal to the game, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
It is just incredible.
That's right. As all VR is.
Hey, it's Josh from Secret Location. Welcome to the Transpose room in Rec Room. Have fun.
Short, sweet.
I take it they haven't got long hair in Rec Room, because that Josh has got a really long hair and a ponytail.
Yeah. They don't have any long hair. They don't have hair that's as long as my real long hair. So,
That's a shame. That's a shame.
Yeah,
You
this is
never
the
know,
longest I
could
could find.
This could be the program that changes it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This could be the one.
Give us the beautiful locks.
Alright.
Let's try that again.
What are we doing here?
No, the room's full. So, best thing we can do is hope that Jason invites us to the actual, at least the show.
Yeah.
We'll get a look at that after.
They'll end up.
Yeah, and
figuring
then
it out.
we'll have to do the level afterwards.
Right now he's just like
That'd be
raging.
lovely.
Where are they? Where are they?
Yeah.
They're ruining everything.
These idiots.
Yeah.
Didn't they listen to anything I said?
They're all fired, all of them.
It's okay.
So, how are you guys' days going? Jingle Jules, I don't think we've met yet. Nice to meet you. I think I keep sinking into the floor. Oh, is flying? There is.
Yeah, we're
Being
gonna have
quiet
to.
currently, my kids are in the back.
Oh, no worries. let's
Not
take a look
used to
around
being
so we can
talk at
find.
all.
Yeah.
How high does this go? Oh my god.
Are we going for a...
Wasn't me.
Chuck's just doing his Superman thing.
Oh.
just learned how to do it. the
What's
other
up
day.
there? There's something else up there. I'm gonna check it out.
What's Shug doing? Who's that?
That's Shug, a.k.a. Superman.
Everyone's flying around.
Yep. Oh, I'm on the ground now.
AKA Superman.
Yeah, I like
Up,
that.
up and away!
We could go with that. Tell my wife.
Gamer,
Yeah.
I was messaged and told to go through the door, so I'll have you try first.
Oh, man, no worries.
No, we can't lose GT. GT.
I'm coming.
Only connection to this. Otherwise, we're just a bunch of dumbasses standing out here.
Let's go. No, it's just this is private. If anyone's, what I need to do, right? Let me get Jason back here. That'll probably be better. See if we can get him back here, and then we can explain it to him, and then hopefully we can. Maybe we'll have to skip the middle level and go straight to the chat show. That's the only thing I can think of currently.
That's who I was messaging. Was
Is that you, Jules? Yeah. All right. How are you anyway? Nice to meet you.
She's muted.
I
I like to meet
have
everyone
6
today.
kids in my house, so.
Ooh,
Mom.
boy.
Wow.
And well, they seem to not know how to be quiet today after I've asked more than once, Logan.
Dang, put Logan on blast.
Logan's on blast
Josh
for
is
the
getting
PSVR
mad
community.
tokens from sitting in here.
I
Yeah.
have a
buy some new
Josh too,
outfits
so
and
if you
stuff.
ever hear me yell Josh, I'm
Level
probably
15 in no
not
time.
going.
Mom won't take the
That's
headset
cool, you
off,
can-
and we're hungry.
Jingle, you can always do that. You can always put your hand over your mouth thing or something. I've been doing that.
Yeah. BT,
Justin, what are you doing?
Try leaving the party and then
Dancing
going.
on this guy. What's it
Ooh,
look
hang
like
on.
I'm doing?
So
Hang
separate,
on, I've got
ourselves
my
from the party, yeah?
imaginary dollar
If it says
bills.
leave party, then it should
Oh
work.
yeah, he'll shake it.
Okay.
How do we
Oh
leave
yes,
party?
yes.
You go to
Hang
your
on.
profile,
Wait, I
a
gotta
little
try
picture
to
up in the corner on your
shove
watch,
it down
and then you
your
go to leave
imaginary
party,
underwear.
go
There
right
we
on
go.
the side.
Oh baby.
Right, okay, no worries.
Now try
Okay.
going the door and we'll
I am definitely levitating.
No, it still says unable to join it. It's
Bow
room's
to me,
private.
Shughead.
The room needs to be opened up.
Bow
Is
to me.
that-
I like this.
hold on.
I'm just gonna
No,
give. I'm,
get out here.
I'm,
No, no, no.
I'm going for my
Get away.
upskirt shot.
No, no.
Hold on.
Whoa,
No, no.
right, sorry.
You're not getting me, paparazzi. Okay, I'm like sinking into the ground again. I'm having
Hit
a
that
team
jump
moment.
button. Should bring
Jason's
you
here
up.
somewhere.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, leave the
Jason's
party.
party.
Leave the
Revenue.
party
I
and
left the
it'll
party.
work.
I left
Okay.
the party and it still wouldn't let me in.
Yeah, okay. Let's get you over there then.
I
I'm gonna
just
go
said
back
on
to
the
the
chat that we could just go straight to the actual chat show and then do this afterwards. It's up to you though.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'll get you guys
Just
over
look
there.
around here.
Sorry about that.
Jason was in a secret
No,
location.
And
There's mystical stuff going on in Rec Room that I just wouldn't understand anyway, so...
It's a whole new language.
Yeah, I saw some of the... I was in here the other day seeing some behind-the-scenes stuff, and it was crazy. Some of the things they have to do to get away with some of these things. They have to, like, crack the system almost.
It's crazy.
Crack the system.
You've proven very many things.
Enter the code, so... Crack the system.
No, but seriously, like, the way they...
How's it going, Justin?
To
How's
get
it going?
neon colors,
What's
they
up?
pretty much
What's
have
up,
to,
man?
Whoa,
Really good. What was that? Was
Yeah.
that from Jason?
You're
Oh
probably
yeah, he's in this through.
Okay.
Okay, let's go. Let's just go. This'll work now.
I'm sure he went first.
Invite your party. We're almost there. No worries. No worries.
Little different than yesterday, huh?
Yeah. Awesome.
The music's brilliant.
Oh, yeah. There's lots
Jimmy,
of
you
I wonder who done the music.
Oh, Jesus.
I did the music.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Look at this.
Cool. Oh wait, let me get some coffee first.
Oh, man, this is amazing. Look at that. Oh, that's wicked.
Look at the colours as well, the floor and that. It's brilliant.
Oh, dude, so
Yeah,
vibrant.
this is awesome.
But the developers...
Okay,
Let's have a look.
let me take a seat.
What's that, dude?
So cool.
No, I'm
Yeah,
break.
looking good, man, good. I'm
I
take a
love
seat too.
the crystal thing.
Hi, about you. Hello.
Oh, is this is us?
Is this
Oh my god, this is a proper chair. This is a proper chair.
is this another member
That's a
from
throne, my dude. That's a throne.
2 thrones.
Wow.
Is
This
this
is
another
crazy.
person from Secret Location?
Yes.
Oh,
And,
oh, okay.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And
What's up, dude? Who am I? Oh, Cug.
This is Nate from. This is another developer from Secret Location.
Hey, Cud.
Nice.
Sit down, Nate.
Hey,
Oh,
Cug.
hey. Hey, dude, I can't hear him, by the way. Is that normal? Is that...
There should be enough for 3.
Get
Get in
No
here,
space?
Shaggy.
I don't know, GC got a little squirmish with me earlier, so I'm not sure.
Nice, dude.
It's an orgy.
Is everyone comfortable?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So, am I in the chair?
Sweet. So what's up, everybody? And welcome to the PSVR Chat Show. This is your show for inside developer information and to spread the love of virtual reality gaming. So allow me to start by introducing everyone. My name is Steve from Games VR, and joining us today is Josh Manrix from Secret Location.
Thanks for having me.
Hey.
Good.
Hey.
This is amazing, hey? It's great. It's great.
Really.
Yeah, it is.
I love the
Heck
crystal.
I like your throw.
Yeah.
Crystal's cool, yeah. The crystal is smart.
It is so good. So allow me to introduce everyone here to talk about his career. You're here to talk about your career within the gaming industry and the studio's latest game, Transpose, which is available on PlayStation VR and PC VR. On the
Correct.
sofas in front of me, we have your favourite PSVR YouTube creators. We've got Justin from Just Incredible, God Cannon from the PSVR Underground. We've got Chris from Shughead Gaming, and Danish from Danish Gaming VR. We also have
Hello.
our Rec Room Master Builders. We've got Dorky. Where's Dorky gone? There she is. We've got Dorky the Awkward. Where's Jingle Jules? Jingle Jules. Velp. Zelex. And Jimif Jamif doing the amazing music you can hear now. And the show's background producer, Jason Liven. Oh man. This is incredible, guys. This is so good. And my chair is amazing. I'm like, I've never sat in a chair as good as this in real life. It's an incredible chair. I would like a real one like this. So how are you feeling today, Josh? And thank you for taking the time for being with us today.
That's okay. Yeah, I feel great. I'm happy to be. I'm excited. This is my first interview inside VR.
Yeah, man. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great.
So please tell us a bit about yourself and the team at Secret Location. And is the actual location of Secret Location a secret?
Well, the location's on our website, so I guess not so much.
It's a fake.
So
I like that.
our company is based out of Toronto in Canada, and we've been around for just over 10 years now. Originally, we did work for hire stuff like movie and TV extension like web work, and then when the DK1, the Oculus DK1 came out, we started messing around with it, and we ended up doing a project for a TV show called Sleepy Hollow, probably like in 2015, I think this was.
Yeah.
It was a promotional piece to promote the second season, and so we made this short experience where you're in VR and you get your head cut off by the Headless Horseman, and it
I remember
premiered
that
at...
program.
Yeah,
Cool.
it premiered at Comic-Con that year, and it went on to win... Actually, no, it didn't. No, wait, yes, it did. It went on to win the first Emmy for a VR project ever. And from that point, we were sort of like fully in non-VR from a development standpoint. And we put out Blasters of the Universe last year, and then
good game.
this year Transpose. And we also released another narrative-driven piece. It's like a 35-minute short film in VR called The Great Sea, which is based on a Philip K. Dick story. So that's out there as well.
Oh, wicked, man.
That's amazing, yeah.
Blasters of the Universe is
Yeah.
absolutely, like, incredible. I think everyone here, like, absolutely loved that game.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was the first large-scale production that we did, and I think it turned out pretty well. I mean, a lot of people seem to love it, so that's great. And yeah, I love the project too.
Yeah, sure.
So, Retro Time, it's kind of a tradition around here to start things off with what is your favorite all-time gaming console and favorite game of all time?
Well, I'd say... Okay, so I'd have to say my favorite gaming console would be the very first console that I remember playing a lot of when I was a child, the Sega Master System 1.
Oh, yes.
I played so much Wonder Boy on there, and so much Hang On, like the built-in
Hang on.
motorbike racing game. Like it just like that's what got me into video games. And then I guess my favorite video game of all time would have to be Super Mario Brothers 3. Yeah, I just love it. I just love it. I love all the different suits and stuff that you can get.
I still
It's
play.
fantastic.
I love people's reactions. I love it. Like Jim is like, oof.
Good game. It's a good
He's
game.
just dropped a massive bomb. Like, I love it, man. I love it. But yeah, the Master System. Did you have the original Master System with the slots for the cards?
Yeah,
Did
it
you-
had a card slot and then it had a cartridge slot on top, and it was like long, as opposed to the Master
nice.
System 2, which was like a lot smaller and it didn't have the card slot.
Yeah, and it had the slidey shelf on the top as well.
Yeah, it had a shelf on top.
So-
yeah.
yeah.
But we had the original one, which was like quite longer and like sort of boxy.
Yeah,
Mark
that's
1.
it.
Yeah.
What happened to your first one then? Your Generation 1?
I think it broke at some point. I'm sure me and my brother probably like threw it across the room in frustration at some point and it broke. But yeah, it's no longer with us. R.I.P.
Mine got trod on, so I don't forget that one.
Yeah.
Sweet. So, speaking of video
Great stuff.
games, could I get like I'd love to hear like a small list of your favorite puzzle games and like kind of what you look for in a puzzle game when you're playing them. What kind of sticks out to you?
Yeah, sure. Well, obviously Portal was like a massive influence on Transpose, and that was like a game that we played a lot of when we were doing sort of research to start with. Another game that was a great reference for us was actually a mobile game called Does Not Commute. It's like it's a single screen, and you drive a car from one side of the screen to the other side, and then time rewinds, and you have a different vehicle that starts at a different point, and you have to drive that across the screen. But your previous car that you've driven drives its path. So you keep adding more and more vehicles, and so you end up with this like crazy mishmash of like cars dodging each other as they try to drive across the screen. It's a really great game. It's on
That sounds amazing.
It's on iOS and Android. Yeah, it's great.
Sweet.
So those were sort of like the two main sort of influences on Transpose, and I guess what I like to look for, and I think what makes a good puzzle game is like slow, like incremental learnings, and then puzzles that are just difficult enough to make you feel super smart when you work it out, but not have to sit there and sort of scratch your head and be frustrated for too long.
Yeah.
Which is a very fine line to sort of walk, especially
Nailed that,
in
though.
puzzle games. Yeah.
Definitely
Like
got that
Secret
right.
of Monkey Island didn't care if you understood.
No, it did not care at all. It didn't help you. It was just like,
No.
go for it. Just try.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
Sweet.
So we've got a question from Shug next.
Yeah, sure. Actually, I'm gonna break with my standard questions here and just give you. Can you give us a quick elevator pitch about Transpose for any viewers who haven't played the game yet?
Yeah, sure. Transpose is a puzzle game set in a surreal world where you create recordings of yourself called echoes, and you work together with your echoes to solve puzzles in that world. So, for example, I can walk across the room, throw a box back across the room, rewind time, start again, and so I'll see a one-to-one representation of myself, walk over, pick up that box and throw it, and then in real time I can walk to the other side of the room and catch that box, so I can throw boxes to myself. And then you start layering those up on top of each other, and then we have world rotation mechanics, so sort of halfway through the game we introduce the ability to walk on walls and walk on the roof and stuff like that, which sort of changes the way that physics works for things, and it sort of progresses from there.
Yeah. So when you do a game like this, could you have seen it working without virtual reality? What compelled you to choose virtual reality in the first place?
Yeah, so I think virtual reality really plays into the playback system. Because we're doing a one-to-one recording of your head and your hands, you can really see a lot of emotion when your echoes play back. Like, you recognize in them like some mannerisms that you have, and then you can see like, oh, that's when I remember I was confused for a minute, but then I worked it out, and you can see that in your recordings. And I think that having that in VR and full body representation really helps, hammer that home and help with the immersion and sort of really elevates the recording mechanics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm actually smiling because I remember watching myself thinking, "What the hell are you doing?" You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
That is
It's
awesome.
hilarious.
You end up talking to yourself and stuff in there as well. Yeah.
Hurry on!
Virtual argument. Virtual argument in VR. Right.
Great.
Danish, you're next, man.
Yeah. So I was just going to ask, so other than PSVR, which obviously what we're all focused on, what other HMDs has Secret Location developed for? And is there any new or future tech that you could tell us about that you're excited for?
Yeah, sure. So, we try to release all our games on like the major platforms. So PSVR, Oculus, and Vive, and then so we'll be on the PlayStation Digital Store. We'll be on Steam. We'll be on the Oculus Store. You can even get our games on like the Humble Store and a couple of other sort of indie platforms online. And so we cover those three, and then I guess we always try and make sure that it works on the Windows Mixed Reality headsets as well, because it's just a small step for us to get that working off the Steam build. And then we have a whole stack, like we have shelves and shelves of different headsets in the office that we get sent, and we test them out and do prototypey stuff and see like what it would take and what sort of the market looks like for those headsets before we sort of decide whether or not to port our content there. And then I guess in terms of like future technology, I think that totally wireless HMDs, I think, is like the next big step. It's just going to be amazing for VR. Like untethered VR in the home is going to be great.
Especially when, like, I think today I watched or yesterday a video of Nathy doing like a hole in the wall video.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I've seen that.
Yeah, and that needs to be wireless. Actually, I think he didn't have his wireless wasn't attached. That was the HTC, and I actually thought, what man, this is the time when wireless would be absolutely perfect.
Yeah. So I think like when the Oculus Quest comes out next year at some point, then I think it's going to be amazing.
That has come up a lot, hasn't it, guys? The Quest.
Oh yeah.
It's
Quest
always
has come up
every
talking
show.
point now, yeah. I mean, it
danger,
sounds
though.
incredible.
So I was just going to say, it's that danger though of you suddenly take the headset off if you've got no wires and find yourself in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Awesome.
Just make a sandwich. It's easier.
There you go.
Just make a sandwich.
I was thinking the same thing.
Go to the bathroom with
Dave,
the
do us a
headset
favour,
on.
man. If you could carry on to your next one, that'd be brilliant.
Sure thing, man. So, so Transpose has an incredibly unique and very surreal gameplay mechanic with the use of echoes that you were talking about earlier, replayed recordings of your own actions. Can you tell us a little bit more about this and how this is implemented in the game? Because it's so unique and surreal.
Yeah,
It is
sure.
something that really stands out. It stands out, like, massively.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, we're recording your head and hands position, like, every frame. And and obviously on PlayStation that's like 60 frames a second. On desktop, it's 90 frames a second. So you get really accurate and smooth recordings of these positions, and then we take those recordings, and when we play them back, we apply them to an IK rig, which solves like for your elbows and your knees and your neck and your back and stuff like that. So with three tracking points, we can get a full body representation, which is super cool.
Yeah, it's
and
great.
Can I just stop you there? Have you tried Arizona Sunshine? Because I think they tried to do that as well with the walking. Yeah, that
Dragging
is
across the
incredible.
floor, it's awesome. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I love it in Arizona. Good man. It's amazing. Please continue. Yeah, that is an amazing technology you've got there.
Yeah, and I guess, I mean, when we initially did the prototypes, we used a library off the Unity store, but when it came to production time, we wrote our own library to do it from scratch, which really like helped us heavily optimize it for the VR platforms. Yeah, I think the devs did a really great job with that, and it's definitely a piece of technology that we'll be using in the future in some of our other prototypes, and just see where we can really push that and see what's interesting with it.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's incredible
Amazing.
to hold in virtual reality, isn't it? When you first start doing that, you get your core, and you start recording yourself, you're like, this is a mind blow.
It's
Yeah,
the most
really
surreal experience ever.
Yeah, very surreal.
I think we did so much user testing on those first few levels, and everybody sort of had the same reaction the first time they see their recording play back. It's just like it's a wow moment in VR for people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a one of a kind as well. It's a one of a kind moment. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
for sure.
100%.
So what games do you feel influenced Transpose? It's very different, but it feels familiar. Are there any influences from novels or movies as well that went into the storytelling?
I'd say, well, the games I mentioned before, obviously, Does Not Commute was like a heavy influence. I think that's where the kernel of the original idea for the game came from. But in terms of like story and gameplay, like everybody here, we're all big sci-fi nerds, so I think it's just like a mix of like, you know, sci-fi stories and stuff like that we've read that sort of helped us like build the world and what the world was about, and sort of layer in a little bit of a story throughout the game as well.
It almost gives you your own interpretation. You get your own interpretation from it, don't you? Like
Exactly, yeah.
Thinking, it reminded me of Tron, and if you have a bit,
Yeah.
you're in there, and the way the
Totally.
graphics look and stuff.
Lawnmower Man. Lawnmower Man as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's awesome.
Nice.
Things.
Josh, feel free to help yourself to a ham. If you
I will, thank you.
Feel free.
coffee and ham.
I love it.
It's lovely and refreshing, because the salt from the bake can dehydrate you, so you need
Danish
some
is from
ham.
you. Special
Yeah,
guest.
Amazing.
It fits. We got a couple of hams up there.
You need ham. There's never a bad time for ham.
Yeah.
I believe you're next, dude.
Sure. I've got a question for you. Since you brought out your titles, and I guess specifically Transpose, onto multiple VR platforms, can you elaborate on any challenges that you ran into bringing it to PlayStation VR, or any differences between the versions?
Yeah, for sure. So, our team has never worked on a PlayStation port of our games before, so we worked with the publisher to get Blasters of the Universe done on PlayStation, but this time we decided to do it in-house, just so we'd have that knowledge in-house so we can do it again in the future. And it was a massive learning curve for us. Like, obviously, the PlayStation doesn't have the power of these super PCs that people have now with the, like, disgustingly huge graphic cards and stuff like that. So we had to go back in and sort of rework and like have a really hard look at the code that we've written, and optimize a lot through the code. I feel like you can be a little bit more, I don't want to say lazy, a little bit more lax when you're developing for PC as opposed to PlayStation. So we had to really go back in and really tighten everything up a lot. And then in terms of like the graphics settings, there is a slight difference between the representation of your echoes on the PlayStation as opposed to the PC, which was a tough decision to make, but I think it was more important for us to deliver an experience on PlayStation that was like rock solid frame rate and didn't have a lot of hiccups and no frame slowdowns, which I think is really important in VR. So it was a hard decision for us to make, to sort of remove a bunch of the arms and stuff like that. Obviously, you can still see your hands and your head and your torso, but you just don't see the elbow and shoulder stuff on PlayStation. And that was really just to make sure that we were hitting that frame rate for every single level.
Interesting.
And see, that was the major sort of the major hurdles that we had to jump over to get it running smoothly.
Wow.
Reggie from Strange Games of Honor and Duty, he's tackling the same problem really. He wants to do a Honor Duty with 32 players online, but he's had to scale it back a little bit currently because he was basically trying to figure out what's more important, the 32 players he's always imagined, or put it to 28, but hit that solid 60 frames a second. And I always go for the frames in VR, always.
Exactly, you always have to go for the frames in VR. I mean, you can have an amazing looking experience, but if it's running at 15 frames a second, it just ruins the whole thing.
Yeah, and I also get sickness. I don't know if anyone else has ever... I don't get VR sickness, but frames a second is the only thing that can make me not feel quite right in VR.
For sure.
So,
yeah, exactly. Definitely.
Yeah. I will add this. Your guys' first-person character avatars are like just awesome. I just thought I'd add that. I love looking at my arms and like looking down at my body. It's like such a cool feeling when you have that.
Having forearms is brilliant.
You guys just nailed it.
Like,
yeah, I think
fluid. It's a fluid thing. That's cool.
Yeah, it's something that we wanted to have from the beginning of the project. Like Blasters of the Universe, you don't have hands; you just have a gun and a shield. And we thought it was really important for the immersion that you had as much of a body representation as you could, and like getting those arms and those full arms and stuff in there. Like I think that really helps with it, for sure.
Yeah. Was that Jason?
Oh yeah, I just had a question. What other type of gaming genres interest you in this wonderful world of VR that we have here?
That's a great question. I feel like I've played a million shooters, so I'd and not that I don't like shooters, but I think
thanks for stopping by.
That genre is sort of
I haven't replied.
It's being explored a lot in like gaming and other sectors, so I'd like to see other genres of stuff sort of come through. In VR, I think like persistent worlds with like adventuring inside it would be amazing, like Skyrim VR, but like a multiplayer version where you can like build a house and like go questing with your friends and stuff like that. I think would be amazing. Like even like a World of Warcraft style thing in VR would be fantastic.
Awesome.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, great. 100%. Completely agree.
That would be so cool.
Great answer.
Maybe a SimCity VR will come out one day.
That'd be cool.
That'd be.
Or like Sims even. That'd be sweet.
Yeah. I think that'd be cool too.
Yeah. Danish, I believe you're next.
Yeah. So obviously you talked about some of the VR games obviously you worked on, like Blast of the Universe, which is a bullet hell game. You got the Great Sea, which is narrative-driven cinematic experience, and obviously now Transpose, which is a mind-bending puzzle experience. It varies genres. So has it been the same team working on all these 3 different projects? Because it must take kind of a very varied set of skills and viewpoints to kind of cover those genres.
Yeah. So we have internally at Secret Location two teams that work in the content department on productions, and just depending on the team that work on Blasters of the Universe, we sort of split them up into 2 other teams, and half of that team worked on the Great Sea and the other half worked on Transpose, and then we hired a bunch more people to sort of fill those teams out. We have about I'd say there's probably like 12 full-time staff, so like 6 full-time staff on both teams, and then when we get into full production, we bring in a bunch of freelancers. So at any time there could be 12 to 15 people working on the project in-house, plus any like art outsourcing or QA outsourcing. We outsource our audio to some local dudes in Toronto here, which are amazing to work with, who did the audio for Blasters and Transpose and the Great Sea. So
Nice.
Yeah, that's probably a long-term relationship right there.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, because freelancer music is the way forward. Definitely way forward. Certainly not got anyone else who can do it in-house, but yeah. Sorry, I'm just just throw my feet together.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, if you've got someone that can cover those 3 genres, that's crazy.
Well, you did generate this song. You did generate this beautiful song.
Yeah, this sounds exactly like the soundtrack. It's amazing. I can't believe you recreated it. Yeah.
It just happens when you make people have good melodies. That's what happens.
Tell Josh your claim to fame so far, man, with Pixel Rip.
Oh yeah, I redone the Pixel Rip theme and Pixel Rip, and they wanted to put it on Spotify, so it's on Spotify as a single.
Wow, amazing! Yeah. Well done. Congratulations! Yeah, that's
crazy.
Cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy stuff.
Anybody else out there listening?
I'm not going there. I'm not going. Go. And back to the
show. So, Josh, man, are you guys working on any updates for Transpose or any DLC?
We have a patch that's coming out that has some modified locomotion options. I know people in the community asked for like smooth rotation turning and
baby,
and a couple of other things. So yeah, so that patch is going through Sony QA at the moment, so you can expect it to be out within the next 1 or 2 weeks.
Awesome.
And then I mean, when we were building it, we had to leave a lot of levels on the cutting room floor just because of like time and budget. So I don't know, maybe next year possibly we'll release those levels. We'll just see how it goes.
Cool.
That'd be sweet.
Awesome.
Can I just jump in here quickly? I'm just curious if you know the thought process behind not putting in smooth turning at launch, because it seems to be super common across developers that they don't. Then the community complains, and then they do it. And I'm just curious, is that a Sony thing?
No, it's not a Sony thing. I mean, even the PC version didn't have smooth turning to start with. We just always try to err on the side of comfort.
Audience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So obviously the snap turning doesn't make people nauseous, but it may not be perfect for everybody. So we launched with that one, and then we don't mind making a patch update if people want different locomotion options, and the community said that they wanted it on PC and on PlayStation, so I'm more than happy to put it in there and just push out a patch.
Cool. It's more for accessibility. Accessibility, I'd say. Yeah.
Just options.
I think with PlayStation, the thing is, on PC, obviously, people put a lot of money into a rig. They know they're going to be on a VR player. As with PlayStation, I think because the entry point is so cheap, you get the average person come along and go, what the hell is this? They don't... Either they like click turning, or... Because I notice a lot of games tend to have click turning and head rotation, or head turning with click rotation. So they're trying to give you a bit of both. But in Dead, for example, that, to me... I don't mind head. I don't know how you guys feel about head turning. I don't mind it. I don't. It sort of annoys me, but smooth turning for me is preferable, definitely.
Yeah, I think a lot of people want to use their controller to sort of steer where they're going as well, which I thought which was interesting too. So I think that's going to be in the patch. The Skyrim method. Yeah.
See, I personally thought a lot of games on PlayStation VR had click turning because we didn't have joysticks. That was the reason I first of all thought that's why we don't have it, because it'd be hard. But obviously not. That isn't the case.
I believe it's also for... I was going to say, just to segue off of you, I believe it's also for frame rate sometimes. For moving and smooth turning versus having to stop and click turn, I think is easier on some some engines, depending on how they've developed that. But my experience has always been, with my subscribers, is that anybody who really likes VR and considers themselves like a VR gamer, I think tends to lean towards full locomotion, smooth turning, like immersion.
Yeah, exactly. They just take all the safety rails off, essentially.
So I always love options. Just give us the option is the way to go. But anyways, that'll segue me, I guess, into my question. As a fellow Canadian, I was curious, as a Canadian developer, has there been any, government grants or opportunities to help facilitate the funding of some of your projects? I'm just curious for, other Canadian indies out there, or people thinking of getting into the biz. Is there options and opportunities? Yeah, for sure. So, full disclosure, I'm Australian, but I work for a Canadian company. But that being said, I've worked at Secret 6 years, so
and I have permanent residency, so I consider Canada home.
So
they have that.
You're a Canadian. We're welcoming.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. But yeah, like I'm not sure about any other provinces, but definitely in Ontario, there's so much money that you can apply for from the OMDC and the CMF funding grants for game development. You can get money for just developing an idea, and then you can get money for actually the full production of that idea, and you can even get monetary grants for like promotion and PR and advertising as well. So
wow.
It's worth looking into. Awesome. into those funding bodies and doing an application, and there's plenty of money there, and they fund a wide range of different projects as well. So yeah,
very cool. Thanks.
Definitely.
Sweet.
Perfect. All right. So, I mean, you kind of already went over this a little bit, but were there any other like hurdles or anything else that kind of got in the way when you're porting it from so many different headsets? Anything that kind of popped up?
No, I think it's mostly like concentrating on, like as I said, like maintaining frame rate and stuff like that. And then obviously the controller schemes are very different across the platforms too. Like Oculus, you have the joysticks. PlayStation, you just have a bunch of buttons, and even like on Vive, you just have a bunch of buttons as well. So just trying to work out how those what button mappings work best for which platforms. That's always a challenge for us as well. Yeah. And we try a bunch of different things and test it and see how people feel, and we hope that we try and get it right. But it just comes down to personal preference sometimes as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
What inspires you when looking at possible game concepts?
I guess things that inspire me are like, firstly, we try and make games at Secret Location that we would want to play ourselves. So, and which makes things pretty broad. Like, there's a lot of people that like playing like everything from like Rocket League to Elite Dangerous to like PUBG and stuff like that. So, if we're going to make a game and work on something for 12 to 18 months, we want it to be something that we're excited about and that we won't get sick of playing, that we're going to want to play throughout that time as well. So we usually like have brainstorms, and like we have a game jam every 6 months in the office as well, just to like, because people are always talking about different ideas and thinking about new mechanics and stuff like that, and especially like things in VR, like where we're focused, we try and choose game genres or choose mechanics that really like play into the strengths of VR. So like with Blasters of the Universe, it's very much about sort of ducking and dodging through those bullet patterns, and that's something that you can only do in VR. And with Transpose, again, it's the full body tracking and playback and representation. It's something again that you can only really get in VR, get that emotion and like see what you were thinking, what you were feeling at those times as well. So yeah, just finding mechanics that really help push the VR genre forward.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, good answer.
Awesome.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, so I was going to ask a question as well. You kind of touched on this a bit earlier with that, talking about that kind of fine line. So obviously a pivotal part of any puzzle game is that balance, right? So that fine line of making sure the game's not too difficult, but it's challenging enough to engage players. So how did you go about finding that balance? And was testing of the levels kind of purely in-house, or was there outside testers that kind of looked at the games and gave you feedback?
Yeah, for sure. So we have a QA lead in-house who plays all the levels and like looks for bugs and obviously gives feedback on difficulty. And then once we get to our alpha for this project, we had people come in and play the game every 2 weeks. So at Secret Location, there's probably like 80 people on staff, but like obviously they're working on a bunch of other stuff. We have like a product division and a content division, and the content division makes the games and the product divisions make a bunch of other stuff. So we get people from the different divisions to come and play the game, and they know nothing about it, and we try and put them through. We have a wide range of people like that have a lot of VR experience, as opposed to like people that work in like the finance department, which have very little VR experience. So we have a wide range of people, and we try and put them through like every 2 weeks. We get them to come back and play some more levels. And then we got people from the local development community in Toronto as well to come in and play, and we did some blind user testing stuff there. And I think we even asked, we even got some people from Steam that I think I asked for some people on the forums for Blasters to volunteer to do some beta testing for us, which was really great as well. We sent out some keys, and we got some really great feedback from the community as to like the difficulty in the controller scheme and stuff like that as well. So we try and do a wide range of testing, and we try to do testing as often as we can, through development too.
So one thing that's really interesting is, it's kind of bittersweet to see your Echo's life come to an end, but like knowing, but knowing it did its job to help you in the process. Was it like intentional to create an emotional connection with your Echoes?
We didn't set out to create an emotional connection, but it just happened that, like, with the tracking and the playback, that you get a lot of emotion, like, in those recordings, and because you remember doing those actions and you're working with these versions of yourself, I think, like, inadvertently you sort of you get that sort of social connection with them. But I personally never felt bad about pulling their cores out to get their lives back.
Genocide.
Wave and bite it and you leave it on the middle of the level.
GC, I'll be your friend. You don't have to rely on Transpose.
You've got my core forever.
Bless you, man.
Just don't pull out my core,
So when you were talking about earlier, you touched on developing on PlayStation 4 and obviously having to tighten stuff up from that PC to be. Did you? What was your experience using the Pro during the development?
So we mostly get back on my seat.
That was awesome.
Impressive.
Sorry about that.
It's good.
Trying to dodge the question. So when we were doing development and sort of testing, because you have to support both the Pro and the base model, we did the majority of our development on the base model just so we knew that we'd have a strong frame rate on there. And then when it came to the Pro, I think it was just like icing on the cake just to see how it's just a lot more rock solid. I mean, in terms of like the processor and the GPU. So yeah, it was just, we didn't, I guess to answer your question, we didn't really focus on the Pro so much as the base models because we knew it would be even more solid on the Pro as well.
So I'll segue off that. How did you find Sony's Q&A process?
It's very thorough. I'll say that, and rightfully so. Like, they want to have great products on their platform, and we want to put out the best product on that platform. So, so they're really great to work with, and the QA team is super responsive and gives great feedback. So it could have been a lot worse, but it was great. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I speak to some people about our library or our catalogue of games compared to PC, and I've had the conversation where people say there's so many more games on PC. That is true, but on the flip side, there's a lot of games that you just probably wouldn't want to play.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot.
I don't mean that horribly, but there's some games that you would, but
I mean, especially on Steam. Yeah, on PlayStation, everything is rock solid, right? Yeah. But on Steam, anybody can pay $100 and put anything they want up there. And they have no QA, they have no quality assurance on Steam as well. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a smaller library, but it's way more quality. That's for sure.
Yeah. So with PS5 coming soon, what features would you like to see personally with the PSVR 2?
I mean, if they could do it without a cable, if they could do it without a cable, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
I think they probably need to do a little bit of work on their controller scheme. I think having a look at what Oculus is doing in terms of like ergonomics and like adding a joystick and stuff like that, I think would be a great move for the PSVR 2. That's probably the biggest thing, I'd say. Yeah,
I would say that is a must. I think the controller thing definitely is a must, even above the wireless.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
that must be quite difficult.
Yeah, I'll probably be on for a little bit. Just,
man. So can we touch on blasters for a little bit, if that's okay? Do you mind?
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about it.
So, how many weapon combinations was that? Because I always find this number astounding, and I've got the figure on my head, but I might be wrong. I know it's over 100,000, isn't it?
I think it's over 130,000 different loadout options, combinations.
It's crazy.
There's a lot of pieces.
Yeah, the combinations never end. It's just, you can always find something new. It's just crazy.
Yeah. It's We had a hell of a time trying to balance that. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
I remember watching Danish, and he was playing it, and I can hear him diving on his living room floor. Like, he's like, I'm on the floor, I'm on the floor.
I was literally diving across my room. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I liked about that? It's like the way the enemies shoot you is almost like a hole in the wall game at the same time. Because,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's something I don't know if anyone else like really noticed that, but I was like, this is brilliant.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, we designed it that way so that, like, you know, it's a risk-reward thing. You know, you can try and thread the needle through the patterns and get a higher score multiplier and bonuses and stuff like that. But if you mess up, you're going to get hit. So I think it works well. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some people.
So I was just going to say, a lot of people don't know there's weekly challenges on Blasters with leaderboards. So when you get in there's weekly like challenges something new to do every single week, and so
amazing.
There's just countless hours of gameplay. It's incredible.
Yeah, I think we had a lot of ideas in Blasters that we couldn't actually put into the campaign, and that they sort of manifested themselves in the weekly challenges, which I think was a great place for them to live.
Yeah, it's really great. It's awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah, man. Well, I was going to say one more thing about Blasters. So, one of the things when I remember putting my videos up was that everyone was asking me what type of gun I was making, because they were so interested. Some people must really struggle with completing the game, and they're saying to me, what gun have you made? How have you made it? Like, when you made the game, did you all have different favourite weapons when you made that?
Yeah, definitely. By the end of it, people had their favourite loadouts. I personally liked the reflection shield with, I think, a fast shooting magazine that has, with the modifier that lets you bounce bullets off to other enemies. I think that was my favorite loadout. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think it's a fun one. Yeah.
Pure chaos.
My favorite weekly was the dual shields that reflect. You have to use 2 of them. That
that's a good one.
Fun. Holy cow.
Yeah, double shield. We played a lot of double shield in Office.
The one I really wanted to make was where you can place like 3 shields around and just leave them. It didn't work out for me, but I thought it was such a cool mechanic. But I'll be like, put that one that I'll be brilliant, and something will get through. And
yeah, even though you can like line them up, they still need a little bit of management because they don't have infinite life. So yeah.
Yeah, even the pixel style as well, like the colours you went for, the art style at the beginning, the story as well.
The story was great. The story was great.
Yeah, when you started that game up, like you really remembered the name Secret Location because of that. I think personally.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, fantastic. Is there any chance we can go and explore that level, Jason? Or
yeah, you probably have to go into it singly and do it that way, and not as a group.
Cool.
No worries.
If you guys want to, that's up to you on your streams there. But yeah, I mean, it'll be available. Yeah, just go in there singly and go through, and it should work just fine for you if you do it that way.
Right, you can do that by leaving your party.
Yeah.
Right, we'll try that then. Is that a wrap? Is everyone happy?
Yeah.
Excellent stuff.
Thanks
very much for today, Josh.
It's been a pleasure.
Hey, help yourself some ham, dude. We've got so much.
Ham for you! Ham for you!
Have some ham.
Never mind ham.
This is strictly Danish ham, right?
Danish ham.
Locally sourced
Danish ham.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks very much for having me on.
Hey, Liv. You know what time it is.
Really good, man.
Oh yeah, we got to do our picture. We always take a picture and leave it in the room, or so we can send it online. So where should we do the picture? In front of the thrones?
It would be awesome.
Should we line up around here?
Can we get the crystal in there?
Probably.
We could fly up onto the crystal.
Do you want to do it that way? We can do it that way. Just fly up.
We could all just be flying in front of it.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool. When that thing blows up on Transpose, it's so cool looking. It like comes at you. It's just, 3D is so cool.
You know, it's going to be tough because we got a couple things on each side that we can see. So if we do it, we're going to have to do it as we're looking up at us or somewhere. Well, actually, you know what?
Yeah, we could do it like down and like kind of at an angle.
Let's face this way. Let's face this way. Or so everybody will be like this. That was nothing back here. That will be in the shot there. So if everybody's standing this way, looking this way.
Yeah.
Like this?
Shug, you're going up like a bit in Willy Wonka.
I know, because I'm a little afraid to go too quick.
Charlie Bucket.
I'm a premature flyer.
Charlie Bucket.
Hey.
Thing's so cool.
There's a lot of us.
Carl, did you enjoy the show?
It's cool.
Make it in as tight as you
Excellent.
can.
I'm glad you did.
I'm going to throw myself in the center here. And...
I take it you lot absolutely love Castlevania then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think Cug has played a hell of a lot of Castlevania.
Nice.
Have you tried the new questing rec room?
Sorry to meet you, man.
That's based on Castlevania.
I'm just trying not to be in anyone's way.
Yeah, you could do that.
Crescendo, yeah, man.
The Blood Moon.
My wristband.
Alright, I gotta hit in the center here. I'll go...
This outfit...
Cannon.
This outfit is inspired by Super Castlevania 4, or Simon Belmont. I wore this for the...
We good?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Just making sure I'm not making anybody.
Cannon, move left. Move left slightly.
Who's in the back? I can't
Move
see.
that way
I can't see you, Dorky and Jimmy. I can't see either one of you in here.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think
I've
we're
got
all...
room, Jimmy. I've got room.
Yeah, you've always got room. You've always got room.
Yeah.
There we go. We got everybody. I can see everybody now. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, everybody ready?
Superposed Transpose.
Man down.
I got you, man.
Sorry.
That photo went there. That would be funny.
Right.
That was brilliant.
Is that somebody flinging back there too? Or is that just...
yeah.
Oh, that's your hand. That's somebody's hand.
Winner.
All right. All right, you guys ready?
Secret location.
Yep.
Let's do this.
PSVR.
So you ready? 1, 2,
Award show
3...
Transpose.
Transpose.
The clones. Danish, the clones.
Anyways, guys, that's it for me. Thanks for tuning in.
And it's shared.
God Cannon's like, you're not going to be in a picture, Justin.
No, it's okay. I gave him the bunny ears to make up for it.
He's disappearing.
It's really too bad I couldn't get the one circuit working in the
Thank
puzzle
you
room.
guys so much.
Who wants to see? If you want to see.
Let's go.
Yeah, I do.
I'm really keeping up the
Justin's
great
chest.
work.
Where'd it go?
Two stellar games.
Oh, it's a thing of beauty, man. That's a thing of beauty.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's
I'm going to
really
put
cool.
it down on the bottom.
That's, I like it.
I'm going to drop it. I'm going to drop it. I'm going to drop it. It
Group
wants
photos, the best part.
Oh.
Alright, so Liv, if I want to go explore the room, how do I get there? I want to go take a look.
I'm going to open it up right now, actually. So now that we're done with the show, I'm going to open it up to you, so that you won't get the private... Yeah.
Okay,
We can go
everybody,
do some
I got
bowling.
a jet.
We've got some bowling, Nick.
Later, Shuggy.
See you guys.
Alright,
Thanks for
publish.
everything.
Cool,
Chico
Shug.
and Casey,
Really
thank you so
published.
much for being here.
Thanks,
Love the
Shug.
game.
You the
Later.
man.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks for having us.
That really means a lot.
Josh, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
Not a
for doing
problem.
this.
Anytime. Thank you so much. This is
Yeah,
fantastic.
you guys are
Keep
awesome.
up the great work,
Keep up the great work, man.
I've loved both.
You and the team are awesome.
really good.
PSVR.
Really
Yeah,
awesome.
cheers.
All right, everybody. I'm going to kill my stream here.
Thank you, Josh. It's shotgun.
But thank you for tuning in, everybody. I hope you
okay.
enjoyed the show.
So how do I get this?
Stay tuned for more.
It's open. So just go under my name,